Alright, quick recap of everything. In the intro, I talk about patient Elliot and how his brain tumor recontextualized my understanding of thoughts and feelings. In part 1, I talk about basic brain biology and very generally where the parts of thinking and emotions reside. In part 2, I try to describe what thoughts and feelings actually are and try to explain their sensation as best as I can. In part 3, I describe the 10 layers of processing and try to separate the flow of thoughts and feelings into 10 separate layers to better help explain the amount of processing the brain processes simultaneously. In part 4, I describe a method of how an individual may better understand their own emotions, and then through that, better understand their own subconscious. In part 5, I describe the 8 cognitive functions by Carl Jung, and hopefully help use that to describe the flow of thoughts and feelings better. In part 6, I talk about the chemical dopamine, and how dopamine is the main chemical that determines our pattern recognition and sets our brain patterns into belief patterns. In part 7, I talk about how using the flow of thoughts and feelings, and by understanding the subconscious, this was the main method of how I discovered each color's associations. In part 8, I talk about ego development theory, and how this theory can be used as a tool to understand the flow of thoughts and feelings better. In part 9, I specifically talk about the ego, a theory of what it is, and how the ego influences the flow of thoughts and feelings. In part 10, I specifically talk about where the ego comes from, and how it is created as a byproduct of our 2 core emotions, pain and pleasure. In part 11, I declare this my most important video ever, and that is because if you change your understanding of what an ego is to this process instead, it allows you to create a stable variable that is cross-modal in psychology, personality, and philosophy. In part 12, I talk specifically about the atomic layer and describe that at this point, all thoughts are emotion, all psychology is belief, and because of the atomic layer, you are the only person who will understand yourself truly. So the question then is, what's next? To be honest, I still don't think I've been able to give a good example or description of the flow of thoughts and feelings yet. And the main reason is because every person is unique and every person has their own biology and experiences. There will never be an answer strong enough. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. Or for nerds, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle. But the whole process still feels incomplete to me, and so I still feel this need to try to complete it. If I were to put it in an analogy, you know in Zelda games when you find the compass, and the compass will show the chests, but you still don't know what the map looks like, and you don't have any rooms or doors or any direction of where to go. So far, I feel like I've given you the compass. But you still have no idea where you are now. I think I have to give you the dungeon map. And that way you'll be able to see the general layout, but none of the pathways. And at that point, I think that's the best I can do. And I think the best way to describe this in a summation will be through the 9 levels of ego development theory. You won't know yourself completely, but you'll at least have a better idea of where you are. And then my hope is, after watching those videos, you'll be able to see a more consistent pattern of how you yourself think inside, and also be able to compare that against how others people think as well. Don't worry, I don't plan on calling this new series The Flow of Thoughts and Feelings anymore. While Levels is technically going to be a continuation, I don't want my title to get much longer than it already is. I think officially and formally, The Flow of Thoughts and Feelings, I think this series will be put to rest. But, on to the next series, The 9 Levels of Ego Development. Thanks for watching so far, and stay tuned. I hope you continue watching.